Good morning, Facebook friends. I hope you are geared up for an awesome end of your week. I just started the end of my week with a great workout. I just ran through the workout that my clients are going to do, and it is a sweaty one. So my name is Missy Ballison, owner of Missy Ballison Fitness. We are a private women's studio here in Sandpoint, Idaho, where I help perimenopausal and menopausal women get into the best shapes of their lives. And mostly I want these women to feel confident, because I really believe that the confidence they gain from coming to the gym, fulfilling the commitment to themselves, to completing a tough workout and feeling like they are satisfied that they were able to do it, from continuing on with their day with that little high of the workout that they get and the chats that they had with their friends. I think all of these things come into play when it comes to building confidence, and confident people do more confident things. So that is one of my goals with my women, is to really fulfill them while they're here, so that they can take what they're getting here, not just the workouts, but everything else that they're getting, take it into their world and run with it until I get to see them again. That is my mission here at Missy Ballison Fitness. But anyway, today we're going to talk about if you're getting fat. So I'm going to be honest, I have noticed myself in the last couple of weeks, and I've been kind of analyzing why this is happening, but a lot less, I've been losing my muscle quickly, a layer of fat that I'm not super excited about, that I haven't had before. And so, couple things. I'm going to rabbit trail a little bit today. Couple things I want to tell you is, one, when you start to notice, especially you perimenopausal and menopausal women, when you start to notice that things are starting to take a decline, I don't want you to sit on that. You really need to sit down and figure out what is going on with your body. Sometimes as women, we go up and down. Like, maybe it's the week before your cycle. If you still have a cycle, you feel extra bloated. I totally notice that after is when I feel like more puffy, like I'm holding on to more fat. So I look at those things and I give myself grace. Oh, it's the week after my cycle, so it's okay. Got a little extra room. But then I make sure that I check in with it the following week and make sure it's not something that's just kind of growing. I think this is, hi Heidi, I think this is one of the problems that I see the most with women, is that they aren't yet really in tune with what's going on with their body. And it just doesn't mean that you have to be like a medical rocket scientist. It just means taking notice of what's going on. If things seem out of whack, if you're not feeling right, if you're feeling extra fatigued, don't just check it off as though it's nothing. Take a little time and figure out what it is. Because let's take fatigue, for example. If you are fatigued and you just are fatigued for a week, and you just suddenly find that 1 week rolls into 2, into 3, and you're not eating as well and you're not exercising as well. A lot of times when you're fatigued, you're going to start eating more to try to generate energy. Maybe you're eating more of the wrong things, more sugar, more carbohydrates, more caffeine. That's going to then roll into feeling more and more sluggish and not getting those workouts in, which is then going to roll into the next month and this whole thing. So it's really important to check in frequently with what's going on with yourself. How's your energy level? How is your focus? How's your weight? How are your measurements? How do you feel strong? What kind of things are going on in your body? And check in with yourself and make sure that they don't get too far out, because I talk to a lot of women that are so discouraged with themselves because they've let themselves get so far. We talk a lot about giving yourself grace here at the studio. Once you make it in the door, you've made a huge step. So we try not to beat ourselves up for what we've done. We try to be honest about our boo-boos and look at them in the face and move forward. Okay, so that leads me to sarcopenic obesity. So as I was saying, I have noticed myself this little extra layer of fat, and I've been kind of looking at what have I changed in my workouts? What have I changed in my eating? Am I getting enough sleep? Have I been overly stressed? Like, what could be causing that? What's one thing that I could change to test that out? That's really important. Start with one thing that you think is the glaring problem. And again, most women say, I know what it is, it's this. So I always suggest, if that's what they think it is, start with that. Give it, let's say it's your eating and they know it's their eating. Give it 3 weeks of being really good with the eating. And it doesn't mean perfect, but cleaning it up, starting to pay attention. Maybe you're just paying attention. I have a client that she and I were texting this morning. She is focused on sugar. I am focused on eating just real food, like nothing from a package or nothing, or something that's very, very minimally processed. And so we've been checking in with each other, seeing how we're doing, sharing little tips with each other. And so I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so choose one thing that you're focused on, one thing that you're going to be mindful of. Make notes about that. And is that the thing? Maybe it wasn't the eating. Maybe you've been eating super great and it's been stress that's been holding your fat on and whatnot. So take notes, change one thing, give it 3 to 4 weeks. And if that's not it, keep the good eating, of course, but then move on to the next thing and see if you can be a detective about what's going on with your body. When it comes to sarcopenic obesity, so this is something that could be happening to you, and this could be why you're gaining this extra fat. So at a certain point in time, we talked about, perimenopausal and menopausal women, also women with PCOS that have big hormonal fluctuations going on. PCOS is a situation, it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. And that is when your hormones are just very much out of whack. You have a lot of androgens or male hormones going on. And so that is kind of throwing your female hormones out of balance. So anytime you're in these hormonal fluctuation situations, we can definitely be losing muscle mass as part of that process. One of the things is that estrogen, which is our girl hormone. We always think about estrogen as just our baby making hormone, but estrogen has a ton of other responsibilities, okay? This is something that women just don't understand, and we're not really taught this, but one of its large responsibilities is to maintain and build your muscle mass. So, and when I say mass, I don't mean like mass, right? So it's important to know that as we go through these hormonal fluctuations, we can definitely be losing estrogen, right? We are during menopause. And as estrogen declines, our ability to maintain our muscle is nothing like it used to be when we were in our 30s, right? Remember, you could go for a run and just look the best you've ever looked, and maybe you let yourself go for a week and you're like, oh, time for another run, and you go out for a run and you'd feel and look great again. Not so much the case anymore. So really important to be considering the fact that those of us that are maybe even 35 and up, 40, I'd say probably closer to 40 and up, are starting to decline in our estrogen levels, even though we're not maybe feeling the signs of perimenopause or menopause or whatever else is going on in your body, all right? So it's happening though. And even though you're not feeling that storm of symptoms that you might when you're in full-blown menopause, that is happening. Your ability to maintain and build muscle is going away. So it's super important to be doing things that are building muscle externally, because we don't have that maintenance system going on as efficiently as we used to. So what happens here is over time, we start to lose muscle. Muscle is our fat-burning tissue. As we lose that muscle, you know how people say we've exchanged muscle for fat? It's not really that. It's not really that a muscle cell turns into fat. It's that our ratio of muscle cells to fat cells begins to change as we're not doing things to increase our muscle mass, and as our estrogen is declining, not helping us internally, okay? So important to be adding things to your lifestyle and your routine that are maintaining that muscle, even if it's just body weight exercise. Because what's going to happen as we slowly lose that muscle mass, fat is going to start to appear. And this is because the muscle was really hungry tissue and it ate fat for breakfast. But when that muscle is gone, what's going to eat your fat? Nothing is going to eat your fat. So it's really important to make sure that you're paying attention to these little things, because this can happen very, very quickly. And getting on it is really what I want to talk to you about today, is just get on it quickly. Whether it's losing muscle mass and you're starting to feel squishy, or starting to feel see that layer that you don't love, I just want to urge you, don't let it go so far that your head now is coming into play. And I think that sometimes this is even bigger than a layer of fat, like a bigger problem, is how our head comes into play and how we start to feel yucky in our skin. And we don't like how we feel. We're gonna be straight up. We don't like, thanks Heidi, we don't like how we feel when we have like right back here, the stuff that's like starting to get squishy. And we think, oh, okay, I can fix that. But if we don't jump on it and start changing the way we're eating and changing the way we're exercising or adding a little bit of movement to your day, it's not going to fix itself, I have to be honest. But the biggest part is what happens in your head. If you let it go, and then it's more, and then it's more, and then it's more. And even if we gain, like, let's just say that we gain 1 pound a month, And in a year, you've gained 12 pounds. And you may not really notice 12 pounds. You're going to notice that you've maybe increased a pant size, but there might be times that you're like, well, it's probably just because I just had my cycle, or my cycle's coming up, or I had a food full weekend or whatever, and you might brush it off. But then in 2 years, we've now gained 25 pounds. Consider 25 pounds and how that one feels on your body when it comes to your joints and your muscles, or your aches and your pains. But also think about how that feels moving around in the world, and how discouraging it is when you're walking up a flight of stairs and you get out of breath. And I just don't want anybody to feel that. My husband was telling me a story the other day about a woman it was either in his office or a place he was visiting, and I think he was telling her about me being a fitness person. He's like a huge fan, always telling people what my wife does. It's super cute. So he was telling her about what I do, and she was telling him a story about how she was out for a hike with her husband, and she sat down and she just started crying. And her husband was like, "Why are you crying?" She's like, "Because I've let myself get so far." And I can't tell you girls how I hear this all the time, and this is heartbreaking. And I just want to say, we can do this. We can fix this. We just have to have a plan. So that is really heartbreaking when you get to that point where you feel like you've let yourself get too far, and now you're beating yourself up, and it's all about you fighting you. Okay, so think about this. We have other things going on that you don't even know about. Like I said, this muscle situation going on because your estrogen's declining. It's not your fault that you didn't know those things. So spend some time focusing on what's going on with your body and doing the research and trying to figure out, and I know this seems overwhelming, but just do a search on muscle loss or extreme fatigue or any of these things. Just start doing searches and learning about these things. Keep tuning in to the Facebook Lives and you can head over to my website. There's a lot of articles over there. Just go to the blog and scroll down, type in a topic that you want to learn. And if there's a topic that you want to learn about that I have not done over on the blog or in a live stream, I would love to hear it. This month, every month I pick a theme. This month we are focusing on cravings and menopausal symptoms. So that's I totally rabbit trailed today, but because this is a last minute live, but that whole sarcopenic means muscle loss. So that whole thing about becoming, declining your estrogen and losing that muscle, and now we're gaining this layer of fat, and now we're starting to, maybe it's a year down the road before we've decided to do something, and now all these other menopausal symptoms are coming in. And then that just really messes with your head. So I want you to wrap this up, I want to tell you, give yourself grace. You can't do anything about something you didn't know. So you have to learn it and start paying attention to it. Start jotting things down, journaling things about how you're feeling. How do you feel after you eat certain foods? How do you feel after you don't get a great night's sleep? It's kind of obvious one, right? Or how do you feel when you've had a long-term bout of stress? I think it's safe to say that we have all been under a long, slow bout of stress for the last 6 months. So consider that. I think a lot of times as women, especially, we think we're super tough, and we are, and we just handle what's given to us, right? It gets on our plate, we look at it, and we're like, gotta do it, so we do it. But we don't think about the fact that it's stressing out the body, and that is actually tearing us down and causing us fatigue and causing us to get out of our regular system. I can imagine that many of us have kind of thrown our regular fitness routine out the window during this COVID situation, and many of us might be starting to feel like our muscle is going away, and we're starting to wonder, why is it going away so fast? And this is because of that estrogen decline. So, ladies, I feel like I rabbit trailed all over the place. I hope what you got out of this is that I really want you to start paying attention to what's going on with your body. It is really super important that you're doing something to help maintain your muscle if you want to feel really good in your skin. And this is something I hear a lot of ladies say. They don't want to feel good in their skin again. They don't want to feel that little bit of... Roger Thomas, can you confirm if drinking while working out is a fad? Yes, that is a fad. So I want you guys to feel awesome in your skin, and sometimes, that may not looking like we did when we were in our 30s, but looking at where you are today and saying, so I'm almost 50, and I have this little goal in my head about, Roger, you're gonna go goodbye now. We're gonna delete little Roger, that I have this goal to just feel really good. And whether that looks like it did when I was in my 30s, or maybe I can't run as far or as fast, but for where I'm at right now, I just want to feel good about where I am right now. And what is it going to take me to get to that point where I feel really good? So, and where is my bar changing? Now, women, we can struggle with this too. We think, I don't know if you guys feel this, but I feel this often, but I think, okay, so I'm 50, I've got 3 kids, I've got a business, things are busy. Is it realistic for me to set my bar as high as it was when I was in college and training for the Ironman and had, a part-time job and things like that and didn't have children and a family and things like that? Is that realistic? So in my logical brain, it says no, but in my little scared girl brain, it says, but what if I let that go? And what if I keep letting it go and go and go and I keep dropping my bar lower and lower and I wake up one day and I'm unhappy? So that is definitely something to keep in mind, is to find that balance of where you want your bar to be, and do you think you can just raise that bar just a little bit more from where you are today, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And you may be amazed where you find yourself in the future. I mean, I don't think the bar is too high to say, I want to feel better than all of my friends. I mean, I know that's a weird comparison to make, but in general, I want to feel better than most 50-year-olds. I want to be able to do 5 pull-ups or what have you. Or I want to be in the best shape of my life, right? Okay, so maybe that's not super realistic for your marathoner or an Iron Woman or what have you, but you can be in maybe the best shape of this decade. How about that? That makes more sense, right? So I don't think that bar is too high. It's just a matter of taking the baby steps that it takes to get you there. And wrapping up the rabbit trail live stream, I want you to consider, what are you going to do to stop this muscle loss? We're going back to the beginning. Stop that muscle loss that many menopausal women find themselves with. If you're feeling like you're getting squishy and you're losing your strength and you can't do the things you want to do, just simply start with body weight exercises. Start with push-ups and squats and walking upstairs and going for walks out in hilly roads and all kinds of simple things that you can even do with your body weight. Start with that, and then gradually you're gonna get stronger and stronger, and you're gonna wanna pick up a dumbbell. But for now, focus on where you are today and where you wanna be in just like 1 month from today, okay? All right, that's enough. I think I better go get breakfast because my blood sugar's dropping and I'm talking babble. So you guys have an awesome weekend, and I will see you soon.